Hey, it's Chuck Armstrong with Loudwire Nights, and this is Loudwire Nights On Demand. It was a blast chatting with Keith Wallen, guitarist of Breaking Benjamin, but also, man, he's got his own solo career, and we covered it all. This first aired on Thursday, April 11th. Here you go. Well, I love talking about brand new rock and roll, man. For anyone who complains about the state of music, I just don't know where you're coming from. I think rock is alive. I think it's well and stronger than it's been in a long, long time. And tonight's special guest is one reason why I believe that. You know him as the guitarist for Breaking Benjamin. You know him as a solo artist. And on May 3rd, you will definitely know him thanks to his new album, Infinity Now. Keith Wallen, thank you so much for hanging tonight, man.
Dude, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to talk about my music and talk about myself, annoyingly.
Right on, man. You know, not everybody loves talking about themselves, so that's a good gift you have, man.
Well, it's all, it's part of the territory, I think, at this point. You gotta sell it a little bit.
That's right, man. Yeah. I mean, is that comfortable for you? Because, when you're with Breaking Benjamin, you might be a little, not out of the spotlight, but it's a little different, right? To not be the front man and not to be the lead singer. But then here you are celebrating your solo music where it is the opposite of that.
Yeah. Is it comfortable? No, it's highly uncomfortable. Yeah. I'd say hell no to that. Obviously Breaking Band, I'm kind of, not in the spotlight so much as much as say Ben, but with this kind of thing, it's takes a little bit of adjusting. You're like, oh dang, they are all looking at me now. Okay, well, I asked for this, so
yeah, but, that's right.
Yeah,
right. It does come with the territory. You're right about that, man.
It does, and it's cool, and man, I'm just happy to be out here playing music and on any capacity, whether it's with Breaking Benjamin or whether it's solo stuff or writing. I just feel very grateful to be able to get out there and play music and, man, literally living my dream every day.
That's awesome, man. I love hearing that. As a music fan, man, I love hearing that because, you can hear bad things about the industry or if you spend too much time on social media, it's always the negative stuff about music or bands or this or that. And so, man, you're living your dream, and here we are talking about new music. That's it doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of negativity out there on the internet, and it's what's funny is that I for the most part avoid it, except for when I'm like laying in bed late at night. For some reason, I just stumble upon all the shit talkers, and I'm always just like, daggone it. Well, I guess I'll go to bed depressed now.
Right? Yeah. Yeah,
it never fails. It's always late at night. I'm like, I got to stop doing that. So
yeah, the worst possible remedy for insomnia is to just dive into social media, because then you're just like, well, what's the point of this?
Just a vortex of self-doubt. Well, good night.
Right. Yeah. Oh man, I feel refreshed. So listen, in addition to Breaking Benjamin, you were also in Adelita's Way for a few years. You've written with a bunch of artists ranging from Saving Abel and We Came as Romans to Dorothy and Saint Asonia. In the midst of all of that too, you've, taken up the mantle and you've had your own solo music. Your debut EP came out a decade ago. And then in 2021, you released This World or the Next, and here we are getting ready for your next record, Infinity Now. How does it feel? So we're talking about being in the spotlight and doing that, but how does it feel to be talking about brand new solo music right now?
I mean, it's exciting. It's super exciting. It's a nice, healthy combination of excitement and just sheer terror. But we spend a lot of time, in the studio and try to really perfect things and getting it to a place where, all right, I can feel good about letting this go out to the universe and letting it be judged by whoever, come what may. But it's just an amazing thing to be able to have a voice to express yourself through music and even just not even performing with the bands, but like you said, with writing with different people. I feel so lucky to be able to get in the room with some of these incredible talented people. Where I lack in talent, I try to surround myself with like way more talented people than me. So it just kind of makes me look good. So just been fortunate to work with some really amazing artists.
Well, clearly you enjoy working with other artists, right? And musicians and writers. There are plenty of musicians and writers though, who are the opposite, right? They like to work by themselves. They don't invite outsiders into the studio, whatever you want to say. What is it about that collaboration that kind of drives you?
I just think sometimes, more brains are better than one sometimes, if anything. I like working by myself too sometimes in my studio. But you kind of get stuck in the same kind of habits and the same approach. And I think sometimes working with different people, like, oh man, I never thought of it that way. There's a different kind of perspective there and approach to songwriting and different ideas. And where you might be stuck, they might have that one little bit of input or whatever that is the catalyst to kind of break you out of your little rut or whatever. So I always love it, man. I always invite that. And, and there's always something you learn from that experience. And I think that, the moment you stop learning, I mean, I'm constantly going to be a student to the day I die. So I just want to keep learning from other talented people for sure.
When you work with other artists or you work with Breaking Benjamin, is it tough to keep ideas to yourself that you think would work well with Keith Wallen? Or what does that kind of look like as you balance solo music, writing with other artists, playing with Benjamin?
Honestly, this is an easy question to answer. All the best ideas I keep for myself. That's an easy one.
Perfect.
I think whether it's, Breaking Benjamin or solo music or whatever, you kind of work on something on a project by project basis. And you're able to kind of, at least for me, I'm able to kind of focus on one thing or the other. I think if we're working on Breaking Ben, we know, hey, this is going to be a song that's going to be sung by Ben. So you look at that, through that kind of perspective. There's a certain sound to Breaking Ben, and we kind of keep with that for the most part. Obviously you want to evolve and modernize, but with my stuff, I'm not so. It's just me making the decision. There's no other band members per se. I mean, I do have an amazing backing band, but when I'm in the studio, it's kind of like all on me to make the decisions, and so I'm free to make those decisions. Whether it be good or bad, but hopefully good.
There's got to be, it's certainly a bit of freedom to that, but also, man, like a different responsibility, right? That lands on you.
Yeah, you take the good with the bad. If nobody digs it, well, then I guess it's my fault. But,
can't blame anyone else.
Yeah.
Are there any artists out there that would be like a dream to work with?
Oh my gosh, I mean, pretty much anybody and everybody I would love to tour with at this point. I think that's the one thing I've really been lacking with my solo career is just getting out there and touring my music and getting it out there. Obviously, COVID and the pandemic, all that stuff kind of put a damper on it. But, with this new album, coming in May 3rd, I'm really trying to get out there, and I really wanted to make it a point to be out when the album was released, and I wanted to put my best foot forward and really, make sure I was on tour. But as far as like work with, collaborate or write with, dude, there's so many. I mean, there's so many amazing singers and bands. And I mean, obviously I'm a huge Metallica fan. I don't know if there's no collaboration that I wouldn't want to screw up any of their genius. I would just want to be there in the studio just to hang out and just watch them, their thing, know?
Like you said, be a student of that, man. Soak that up.
Oh yeah. I mean, James Hetfield is my ultimate number one hero. Like I've never met him. We played Louder Than Life a few years ago, and Metallica was playing as well. And I met through my guitar tech at the time, Rich. He introduced me to James's guitar tech, and he was like the nicest guy. And I was like, can I? And all of James's guitars were there in a vault, and I was like, can I just take a picture of like his guitar so I can look at the picture later and be like, I was there, I was that close. And dude, he was so nice. He's like, man, grab one, put it on. And I couldn't believe it. I was speechless. I was like, I just want to cry right now. And they got a picture of me holding his guitar. And then later on the night, I saw James playing the exact same guitar I was holding. I was like, well, I mean, I can die now. But it was so cool. And
I love that.
I've heard that he is just like the coolest of the cool from multiple people that have met him. So it's one of those things where, people are always like, well, don't meet your heroes. You never know. But I don't care. I think he's going to be cool, and I would love to meet him one day.
I met him once, and it wasn't a real interaction or anything like that. But I was at a show for the band Bastardane, which his son drums in. And he happened to be there watching his son play, which is just really cool. And so, so it makes it a little weird, right? I didn't want to like bug, hey, James, I know you're watching your son, but can I get a picture? But I went up to him like in between sets, and I shook his hand, which, getting to shake his right hand was a pretty big deal. But there was something about him, man, just like the presence of James Hetfield. Like there are some people where you just get starstruck. It doesn't matter how many famous people you meet or how many tours you go on or whatever. Like to hold that guitar, to be in that presence, like there is something about Hetfield, something about Metallica that is just, it's different. And maybe that's silly to say because of course they're the biggest band in the world, but still, it's pretty amazing, man. In this day and age, for rock stars to still have that kind of stature and that presence,
Absolutely. And that's, they are legit rock stars. Like, all right, there's no bones about it. I mean, and you're saying you felt weird about shaking his hand. I mean, dude, when when else would you get that opportunity? Like you'd have to,
That's what I know, but that's exactly what I was going through. I'm like, there is a very good chance this will never happen again, ever. And so maybe he'll always remember that weird guy who shook his hand at his son's show, but you know what? I'm okay with that, man.
Yeah. No, exactly. That's awesome.
So, I love that, just that sort of openness to work with anybody, or work with everybody. And it just, that, like you said, that excitement of being a student, not to be too negative or anything like that, but what would make you say no to working with someone? Like, is it just like a sort of a gut instinct or something like that?
Gosh, I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't really had that problem yet.
That's great, man.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people that wouldn't work with me. So usually I'm kind of used to,
that's my next interview after this.
I think the goal is to make myself as accessible, so that anyone would want to work with me. So
awesome. I love that, man. Well, listen, so Infinity Now, your next record out May 3rd, the latest taste of this record is Headspace Holiday, which the second you hit play on it, man, it is just instantly catchy. You knocked it out of the park with this. Can you kind of take us a little behind the scenes on this? Where did this song come from?
Absolutely. Well, first off, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. I've really, I've been a real just fan of rock since I just began playing guitar. And, obviously we talked about Metallica, like that was the first band that I really was into. And so I've always wanted to just really just rock, as an artist. And I think I've put some different stuff out where it was kind of like maybe more mellow. And I think with this album, I was like, all right, I really want to just like try to get some riffs and do some stuff. So I actually wrote this song with Cody from Wage War, who is just, killing it right now with the writing and the riffs and just a awesome dude, great band, a bunch of Florida boys that are living in Tennessee now. It's been cool. We've been kind of running around in the same circle here for the last couple years, and I was so fortunate to just get in the room with him, man. And we were just like, yo, let's just write something that's got some guitars and just go for it, man. And he just, we really came up with something cool, I thought. And between the both of us, was like, all right, let's get some riffs, let's get a nice melodic hook, and obviously it's dealing with mental health too, something that is extremely important nowadays. It's always been important, but it's like it's a lot more in the forefront now, as it should be. So I thought that was important.
Yeah, the first time I listened to it, I thought that, like, man, this is just a hugely relatable song. It's catchy and it rocks, which is a great checkbox to mark off. But also, like, as you kind of soak it in and you kind of like take a step back, it is, man, it's really relatable. And yeah, you had mentioned COVID earlier. Like following that and just whatever, man, whether you want to talk politics or family life. Or life, just the world around us, man. You don't have to click too much on the internet to see just, brokenness all around. And so to have a song that you can connect to, that you can relate to, that it's transparent and honest. I love that in a space like rock and roll, that we can still talk about that, or we can still listen to songs like that, or we can still connect with songs like that. So what you're doing, what other bands do, man, I think it's great for so many reasons. One of which being just like, if you're bringing a little bit of good into the world, like what an incredible thing to do.
Man, I think that's the point. That's my whole purpose, I think, with my music. I I don't have really too much of an agenda with my music, other than I want my music to kind of be somewhat of an escape from all the noise and all the stuff. And you know, especially with Headspace, it's like you said, there's so much just bad news everywhere on the news, like social media. You know, we're constantly, I mean, we're living in this world now where with social media, you're just constantly comparing yourself to other people, and you know, sometimes it's just overwhelming. You just gotta unplug from things, and whatever you can do, whether it's music or you know, or in, you know, my case, music, but also just other stuff, barbecuing,
yeah,
eating, you know, maybe play some golf, get out in nature or whatever, you know, whatever you can do to kind of stay sane and you know, keep it together. I think it's very welcome.
Amen, man. Well, I love that. Well, and listen, I imagine for you too, you balance quite a bit of stuff, man. So, you know, I know as you give that advice to the Loudwire Nights audience, you're taking that to yourself too, because you've got, man, Breaking Benjamin, you guys are busy this year.
Yeah, man, we stay
got
busy.
A lot of stuff coming.
Yeah, we stay busy. I mean, we're busy in the, you know, the studio constantly too, you know, working on new material. You know, new tours coming, all my stuff, there's tours. So, I don't complain. I refuse to complain, because as exhausting as this is, I live for this, man. I mean, this is, you know, I even say this when I'm playing shows, you know, I think I've been asked before, you know, well, you know, you're in Breaking Benjamin, why even do the solo stuff? And I say the same thing. And that is, I know I'm going to be super old one day. I mean, maybe I'll make it to the ripe old age of something, but I know I won't be able to play guitar. You know, I won't be able to sing as much or as well as I can right this second. And I just want to make as much music and get out there and play as much as I can while I'm alive on this earth. That's it. So
can't argue with that, man. What a great note to end on. Keith Wallen, thank you so much for hanging. Next solo record, Infinity Now. It's going to be out on May 3rd. You can grab details on the Loudwire app. Also, all of Breaking Benjamin's tour plans. We got everything on the Loudwire app too. Hopefully we can hang on the show again soon, brother.
Dude, thank you so much for having me, Chuck, man. It's been awesome, man. Appreciate y'all.
That wraps up this episode of Loudwire Nights on Demand. Stay caught up with everything happening in the world of rock and metal on the Loudwire app and at loudwire.com.